like everybody's in. Okay, hey everyone. It's Andrea. I'm at Grandview, and I have Stacy Horton and a few of the Grandview girls here to do our How to Clean Palm webinar. So this is being recorded. We have had several great questions submitted already that are incorporated into the session. And I'm going to turn it over to the head coach, Stacy Horton. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I've got a few of the girls here to help us along as we go today. I'm gonna go along today as if it were a practice kind of that I was running. And I do have some of your questions here that you submitted already, so I'll address those as well. And please feel free to chime in and ask any other questions that you'd like to. First of all, I just want to talk about how we as a team clean a palm routine. The first thing we do, obviously, is learn the choreography. We learn the choreography without any of the details. We don't worry about any of the details. We just get the choreography down first. We usually do that in a couple different practice sessions. And then we clean section by section. So on our way to state time, we like to have all of our routines learned and ready to go to perform full out starting November 1st. So let's say we learn our palm routine the middle of September. Our first practice that we have, we will start cleaning 30 seconds of each chunk of our palm. So we'll have 4 practices total to clean the entire thing. After we've cleaned it all, we go back. We work on levels, our stances, our heads, our vocals. So really, in total, we take 8 practices to clean one routine from start to finish. A lot of times we add our vocals in at different troubled spots that we may have or reminders we may need. So we add those in as well. I do have a question from, it looks like, Remsen St. Mary dance team. When learning a palm routine, when do you introduce the actual palms? We only have one set, and the palms get so worn out by using them constantly in practice. Any suggestions? So yes, we don't introduce palms until maybe, I want to say 2 weeks prior to state. That's when we start putting palms in our hands. Obviously, maybe a little sooner if you're doing one color of each. If you're doing the same color, I wouldn't worry about it as much. But I don't incorporate those palms until the very end. I want them comfortable with everything and then put those palms in their hands. But again, that's your choice. That's just how we do it. So we start without the palms and then add them after we've cleaned the angles and done all the hand placements. And one reason we don't use palms right away is because at the collegiate level where we are, when we go to compete at regionals or nationals, we don't use palms at all. So palm placement and palm hands and everything are super important because we don't use palms in our choreography for nationals. Do I set a deadline for dancers to have a routine clean by? Yes, and I've addressed that a little bit. And you know your team best. So you can kind of gauge how they're doing and bump that time up if you think they're capable of that, or move it back a little bit. But I really feel like they need to have been doing the routine full out for at least 2 weeks ahead of state time. So how best to run practice? This is how we do it. We start our practice with some technical skills. We stretch, we talk a little bit about palm arms and about turns. We break into small support groups. So for example, for turns with my team, what I do, they have a turning partner or a turning group. So I assign them a group. One girl goes out, does all the skills, the leaps, the turns, the triple, the turns in second, whatever that may be. And her group sits in front of her and they watch her and they give her feedback when she's done on what she needs to work on, whether that's, she needs to be in a higher releve or she needs to not drop that heel when she's turning, whatever that may be. I let the girls kind of do that with each other. That way it just really builds trust and camaraderie in the group. We then run the dance or finish cleaning as a team in small groups. So our dance room used to fit out all of our dancers. It doesn't anymore. So we may split that down the middle and have half of the group do it. And then they assign somebody to watch each individual girl. You watch this girl, you give her feedback when she's done, and then we switch groups. So then they have a chance to get feedback from their peers as well. Okay, I want to move on to arms, cleaning arms for pom. I've got some girls behind me here, so a lot of the pom tricks that I have, I've either stolen from other fantastic coaches, or I've gotten them from the king of pom, Jay Peterson, that has done some of our choreography before. So this is just a general rule of thumb for these positions. So, and unless your choreographer has specified they want the poms a certain way, just always kind of remember this rule of thumb. So the first thing I'm going to have the girls show, and they don't have poms in their hands right now. I'll have them show you. I may have a couple girls grab poms so you can see what the difference is. So probably want to grab poms. The very first thing we're going to go through for the arm positions is candlesticks. Okay, so candlesticks the girls will show you. So the girls in the back are showing candlesticks without poms. Okay, the girls in front are showing candlesticks with poms. Now, it looks very different. Now do buckets. These are buckets. So the girls in the back have brought them over, and the girls in the front have brought them over. Now, my two girls in the front, could one do buckets and one do candlesticks? Do you see the difference in how the poms look? You have to be specific when cleaning your routine. Do you want those poms in buckets? Do you want them in candlesticks? Okay? Notice the girls in the back, they have their thumbs underneath. Okay? Now, broken T. Can each of you do a broken T? Okay, so there's several different ways to go about this. Cassie over here on this side is doing a broken T that isn't touching. That broken T is at the shoulders, okay? In the middle, we have Lindsay doing the broken T touching, yes? And Mary doing the same thing that Cassie's doing, broken T. We have the two girls in the front doing the broken T touching, okay? So you as a coach or your choreographer needs to be specific. And if there are broken T's throughout your routine, they need to be that way all the way throughout, okay? Not this way one time, this way another. As a coach of this team, I always do my broken T's touching so that there's no, it's just the easiest way to clean so that there's no distance or air between those palms. Okay, let's go to a full T now. Full T, okay? You can see I'm doing the full T. One of the most important things to remember on the full T's is to not break the wrists. Could I have, yep, there we go. Carl broke her, I'm sorry, her name is Brittany, I call her Carl. Brittany broke her wrists. You see how icky that looks? You really need to pay attention to that and walk around and look at everybody's wrist. See the nice clean wrist all the way across, yes? Okay, the traditional touchdown, okay? The traditional touchdown is not touching on top. Straight up, arms against the ears. For my team, we don't do the traditional touchdown. We always touch on top so that there's no area in between. There's no space. It's very uniform, looks nice and clean. One of the biggest issues with a touchdown or the touching touchdown are the shoulders. A lot of times when the girls are doing the touchdown on, they want to really shrug those shoulders up. Yeah, you have to make sure they're pressing down, releasing those shoulders, nice and tight, okay? Diagonals. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do diagonals. Yeah, there you go. Again, that's super important. Those diagonals, you need to have both of your, we call them big cinnamon rolls. Lindsay, see, Lindsay has the big cinnamon rolls facing forward, like that. And this is your little cinnamon roll, like that. Okay, so your big cinnamon rolls facing forward. Nice, clean angles. Again, really watch those shoulders. When I'm judging a pom routine, I really look at those shoulders a lot. So you just need to make sure everything, you know, their shoulders are drawn back, shoulders are nice and relaxed. So, yep, just your angles, make sure everybody's on point there. On point and relaxed. One thing that I tell my girls too is, depending on if they're in the front row or the second row or wherever they may be, that girl in front of you, her angle may be off, but you being behind her, you have to match up to her. So make sure that that's all in you. It's not about being right in that second row. It's about looking like the rest of your team, okay? Clean arms. Whenever we clean before we move or clean to go anywhere, I see this all the time with teams. Just because you may be moving somewhere, that's part of the choreography too. But I see a lot of, arms moving around and moving with them like this. Glued. They need to be nice and glued, nice and tight. Okay. Obviously, the big cinnamon roll is facing forward again. Okay. All right, hand positions. So if you guys are going to put down your palms. So you heard me talk about the big cinnamon rolls and little cinnamon rolls. So can you all just do a low V with your big cinnamon rolls facing forward? Notice also that all of these girls have their low V a little bit set in front of them, okay? It just makes it look stronger, nicer. Notice how nice they have those nice big wide stances, right? We all have nice big wide stances, perfect. Outside of their shoulders, yes. Okay, so big cinnamon rolls and then little cinnamon rolls. Little cinnamon rolls, okay? And these are, this is daggers. Daggers, right here, little cinnamon rolls, okay? A lot of times I just feel like if you familiarize yourself with these terms and get your team used to those terms, it'll be much easier for them, okay? And it helps you as a coach too, that way you're not trying to explain. If you just say, hit your low V, big cinnamon rolls forward, that's gonna help a lot. Okay, the tendency with the palms, palms on the ground, palms on the ground. Let's talk about anytime you're in a squat position on the ground with your palms or without palms, whatever, okay? Palms are always going to be touching in front. Palms touching in front, okay? Feet together. And then you'll have to determine whether you want heads down, heads up, whatever. But they're on your knuckles, yes? All right, stand up. This is another one of the biggest things I see with teams. And you can I call it Princess Leia. Other people call it, I don't know what else. Mickey Mouse. Okay, so, yes. So McKenna is showing us Mickey Mouse, yes? Anytime your palms are behind your head, they need to be right at the nape of your neck. Okay, right here. So for most of you, if you're doing palm and you've got ponytails, right under the ponytail. Okay, they've got to be together. Look how nice the elbows look. Yeah, but what happens when everybody starts getting tired? Those arms start getting looser. Yeah, Carl's shrugging her shoulders. Lindsay's not really all the way back underneath her ponytail. So very important. Draw those shoulders back. Stick those chests out right here. Another thing I don't want to see is this. Sometimes when they're really stressed out and they're trying to move quickly through the routine, they start pushing their heads forward. Yeah? No. Got to draw it all back up in, okay? The tendency when you're using palms with your is knuckles forward and broken wrists. So those are the two things really you need to check as a coach consistently, making sure that the knuckles and the hand placements are where they're supposed to be, and to really watch for those broken wrists and full extension through those arms. Go ahead and go to a diagonal. If they're in a diagonal, and Lindsay, you're not going to be quite diagonal. See, look at the difference. Look at the difference, how much she stands out. Okay, and she's in the center. So you've got to make sure that they're fully extending through those elbows, okay? Double jointed dancers. Sometimes there are double jointed dancers. Not a heck of a lot you can do about that other than maybe turning their palms a different way so that it matches the rest of the team. They may have to adjust a little bit more than others. I don't think I have any girls that are double jointed here, but I know Andrea is, and sometimes she has to turn hers differently than everybody else. Another one of the biggest things throughout a palm routine that I've seen as I judge is breaking versus swinging, okay? So you need to specify, and we'll take a chunk of practice and go through all the breaks and swings in the routine, okay?
Show the difference.
Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. Yep, there's breaking, now swing. There's swinging, okay? Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Angles, nice and tight. Full extension on all those elbows and arms. Strength and movement. I do have a couple questions here from some of you. What are some things you can do to help your girls make their movements sharper? I have a couple girls that just can't quite get there. And that's from Mallory. Can I have all of you guys actually grab white and right? Sorry. That's another thing. Specify too. If you are using 2 different color palms for state, specify what hand, what color goes in. These guys always know white and right, white and right. Just what we've always discussed, okay? Okay, so one thing that I do, not necessarily with my group, but when I've done any critiquing for anybody, there's just a little trick that I do, and I am hoping that you guys can actually see it when we do it. But I have the girls stand with their arms in candlesticks forward, facing forward. Yep. Just like that one. Yep. Palms are together, and then I tell them, flex your arms as hard as you can. Flex.
They're shaking.
I don't know if you guys can see it, but the palms are shaking. Now stop flexing. Okay, when they perform a routine, you can see that electricity coming out through and the power coming out through those palms. They have got to be flexed and powerful and energetic through the whole thing. If not, it's just kind of going to look blah. Hang on just a second and I'll show you what I mean. So the first example they're going to show you is not much energy, just kind of weak movements, okay? And 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now they're going to do it with that same effect, that put your arms out, guys, flex, and lots of times I'll do this right before they do the routine, okay, so that they really engage those muscles. Here we go, ready? And 5, 6, 7, 8, go, 1, 2, 3, 4, go, 5, 6, 7, 8, go, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I certainly hope you noticed a difference, okay? That's the difference in those strong arms versus just kind of going through the motions, okay? The other thing that you can always do too is they can put the palms down and they can use like small weights. And you can go through, you know, little 1-pound weights with everything. Is there anything else you guys that I have done with you, or that we can't think of anything else?
Stacey, it's also the counting in your voice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I kind of have one of those. So that helps the girls too. It's my angry voice that I use. When I count really aggressively with them, it makes them sharper. So when you see me acting like a maniac at state, hollering like that, it's helping them with their energy, okay? Sometimes they just need to be reminded of that.
And they need to count that way in their head.
And they need to count.
Sharp.
They need to count that way in their head, not just 1, 2, 3, and 4. It needs to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, there's a huge difference. They're giggling at me because that's exactly how I do it. Okay. Body placement. Let's talk about that. That's so important in pom. Again, I'm going to reiterate the relaxed shoulders with the high V and the touchdowns. You must press those shoulders down. Okay, this is another one of my little kind of pet peeves, is getting up from the ground, okay? After you performed a skill with your palms, and I don't know what this is. I'll show you the right way and the wrong way to get up. Just always remember getting up with your head, chin, chest following nice and pretty. And then there's kind of an icky way. So are you going to do the side back? Okay, so I'll just count and they've kind of worked it out themselves. So ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yeah, there was one that was way prettier. Okay, again, drawing those shoulders back, standing up. Do not stand up. Heel first. Show your heels. Show your heels. Heels. No. Don't get up with heels. All right. Flat backs. Can you all go down the flat back? Yeah. Yep, thank you. Okay, so as a coach, it's really, I mean, it would be nice if you could walk around because some girls don't really understand. They can't feel what that flat back is. So, Lindsay, can you round your back for me, please? So I have Lindsay who's rounding her back, okay, and I want her to understand how a flat back feels. So I'm going to press in the middle of her back. I'm going to draw her shoulders back, okay? That butt just sticks up a little bit. Yep. Now round again. Do you see the differences compared to everybody else? Yeah. Okay. So just make sure that you walk around. Make sure you walk around as their coach and really help them feel what that flat back looks like. 45 for flat back. Yes. Thank you. So that was your flat back. 45. This is something in POM as well. You really have to either your choreographer needs to specify or you as the coach. I wouldn't suggest a lot of both. It's maybe either one way or the other, just so that it remains clean throughout the entire routine. So here are your 45s. A lot of the tendency, okay, that's a lot of the tendency is to drop the heads. The heads in the 45 need to stay in line with the body. Go ahead and come up to your proper 45. Yep. So just make sure you work on that with them as well. Let's see, flat backs. Formation changes with body placement. So often I see teams that travel from formation to formation, and they move their bodies the way they're going. It's much more visual and pleasing to see you move this way, back or front with those shoulders squared, than it is to actually turn and go there. Okay, so just really watch that too. If somebody is having to turn and go a long distance to their spot, maybe you should think about maybe moving them or something in the formation, because nobody should have to turn and take off to travel so far to their spot. Chest up on transitions, same thing. Your transitions are a part of your choreography as well. You need to always have that chest out, those shoulders dropped and rolled back. I do have a question from Dana in Winterset. How do you get girls to face the same diagonal in regards to body angle? Okay, so help me understand that, Andrea.
So I think it's like the 45.
Okay.
So I would think that, I think Dana's thinking like, are they facing this way or this way? And an easy way to do it is make an L and they split their body.
Yeah, right. Well, and the way we, if we're understanding the question correctly, Dana,
Not sure.
as far as we tell them, draw your own little box.
Right.
Yeah, draw your own little box and face your diagonal. Okay, so that's what they're doing for you right now. So that's kind of the easiest way to do that. Huge thing for me in POM is foot closure and knee closure. Anytime you do a skill or whether it be a toe touch or a leap or whatever it may be, when I'm watching POM, I'm always watching for foot closure and for the knees being together. So, you guys feel stressed out enough to how about a herky? Yeah. Okay, so they're gonna do a herky for you, and I'm gonna have Mary, Cass. I'm gonna have Mary and Cass not close their feet.
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand, will you? They're gonna do it the improper way. So they're gonna land with their legs apart and they're gonna land with their feet apart. Okay, ready? Ready. 5, 6, 7, 8, go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, stop, stay right there. Okay, do you all see? So much nicer and clean with those knees together, those feet together. A lot of times, the reason dancers do this is because they're anticipating what's coming next. Okay, so if I don't close everything, then I'm ready to go on to the next thing. I always tell these girls, you've got to complete every movement before you move on to the next thing. Part of that movement is foot closure and knees. A lot of times, I'll see kind of knees doing this or turning in. Yeah, you've got to put knees and feet together or you'll get all those different kinds of looks. Okay, this is another thing, and I'll try to explain it the best I can. I tell my team, always make your motions go the shortest distance. So, for example, one thing that we do a lot of, like, there's a difference between jumping out, so everybody jump out, okay, and jumping up and out. Okay, that adds way too much. So up and out, okay, that's too bouncy. It needs to be cleaner. So they need to not add that extra jump. They need to go straight out and straight out. Just like that. We'll try that one more. Carl needs another change. Come on. Here we go. Let's try it again. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8, and out. See, there's a huge difference. And notice those feet are turned out. Nice wide stance. Levels and height in dancers. These girls are all kind of around the same height. But if you've got a taller dancer, so let's bring Mary. So let's say Mary is in the front. She's a tall girl. Carl's behind her. No, I want to switch that, please. Thank you. Carl's in front, she's shorter. Mary's behind. Now, Carl, go down into your DPA. Now, Mary's going, oh my goodness, my legs are really long, right? So I've got to do what she's doing. Because you're behind that person with that wide stance, you've got to do the same thing. So it's longer for Mary to go, but she's got to get there. God gave her those beautiful long legs, but now she's got to use them. Okay? So you really have to match those people in front of you. Levels are super important. We need to see the diversity in the levels. So if something's in a releve, we need to see it in a really, really, really high releve. If the next move is supposed to be super low and grounded, we need to see that. Oh, they got something already cooked up. They're on the ball. Okay, I'm gonna count it for them, and they will show you what I'm talking about. Ready? Here we go. 5, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. Good.
That's all we got.
That's all. Okay, so they went from obviously high to low at the end, right? So we've really got to see those levels. Even if it's just from a high V, wide stance, yeah, and then down to a low V. See, we got to see that, but we can't see the level happening. We've got to see it go from here to here. So I'll give you. Ready? So I don't want to see all the work it takes in between. I want to see it from here to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah? Up, down. They're holding their breath. They also know that they're not supposed to hold their breath, but they're trying to impress you. All right. Body placement, foot closure levels. Okay, skills. Cleaning skills. So basically technique throughout the dance, okay? I do have one, nope, I'm not gonna get to that question yet. Okay, jumps and leaps, same thing. Jumps and leaps, you need to land feet together, knees together, unless otherwise specified by your choreographer, whether you're coming through your leap or how you're doing. Okay, so Firebird, there's a couple different choices. My back row will do your Firebird stepping through. You guys do the Firebird. Now, it's also very important that when you come out of your leap, do not land with your knees locked. Land in a soft plie, okay? All right, so I will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Start with 5. Ready? Here we go. 5. I'm gonna switch. I've been on this side a long time. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you can either land feet together or you can step through. Yep, but you just need to specify that. Also, upper body placement on those leaps. Are we facing the diagonal? Are we open to the front? Where are we? You need to specify that. Always land in a soft plie. Who has the courage to land not in a plie? Okay, so here's what it's like to land. Here's what it looks like to not land in a plie.
All right.
Look what happens. She falls over, right? Now she's gonna do it with a nice, pretty soft plie in the landing. See, there you go. Just landing. That's another thing is, if they're doing it correctly, especially if they're in shorts, you should be able to hear their knees knocking together and their heels knocking together. Their heels should be bruised with as tight as those foot closures are happening. You want to, that soft plie is important too, because you don't want to land and sound like a herd of cattle, right? So you just want to land nice and pretty. Always brush to point your toes. Can you guys all just do a, yeah. Let's have the back row go corner, front row go that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice how they brush through, nice and pretty. All right. Also, full extension through your legs and your toes. Some girls, if they don't have a mirror in front of them, they may not know, they may not feel that they're not fully extending. Especially in their leaps or on their kicks, they may have that little bend in their knee. You need to physically go grab them and show them and help them. Help them stretch all the way through. Yep. Sorry, I invaded your space. Okay, so there were a couple questions. What is the best way to increase height on toe touches? Okay, a couple things with toe touches. One of the biggest mistakes, regardless of whether you're flexible or not, it doesn't matter if you're flexible. There's proper technique, okay? And this is not one of them, bending over. So can you guys all do a toe touch where you're trying to reach forward? Okay. Ready? 1. Yeah. Yep. So I'll give you 1. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. See? We got a lot of this, a lot of, yeah, and the foot closure wasn't great, all of that. You always want to roll those hips under and bring those legs up to you. Pushing those shoulders down, drawing those shoulders back, lifting them up to you. It doesn't matter if they're not flexible. Their toe touches may not be as high as the person next to them, but I'm sure gonna notice this a lot more than I'm gonna notice this, okay? So if you guys, and these guys all have different heights on their toe touches. So that's another part where you can maybe, if somebody's got a fantastic toe touch, and I do this often, I highlight them. Let them do their toe touch in the middle of the routine somewhere or off to the side or whatever. You can highlight those girls that have kind of those special skills. Okay, so you guys want to do another toe touch, right? And it doesn't matter the height, it's the technique. Ready? So you're going to go up on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. So it doesn't matter the height. Okay, just make sure you get that technique down first. do some flexible, do some flexibility warm-ups and stuff for the girls so that can help with it too. All right. Another question, how to increase the back leg height on a leap. That's all going to be in those hips, okay? So just different stretches, whether it's up against the wall, really stretching those hips out, and repetition of that over and over and over, doing those skills, maybe for the first 30 minutes of your practice, really repeating those skills over and over and over, doing those stretches. You've got to commit to the preparation and the stretching as much as you do the routines, because that helps with the technique. Okay, so here's one example. So for your hips as well, when you go to do splits, practice bringing your body up. Yeah, crunch over again, Carl. Yeah, no, up. Press those hands. Yep, right down into the ground. Okay, that's another way. Okay, arm placement with turns. Again, that's going to be specific to your team. Whatever you want to do. Our team, basically for turns, we're at a broken T and we're touching straight out to here. There may be different things that we switch up, but for the most part, we're right here. Okay. You guys feel okay? Go ahead and grab your sheet. Again, one of the things with those turns, and my girls struggle with this as well too. In your prep, make sure that you get a nice deep plie before that prep. Your prep meet is key in this. And then watching those shoulders, because when they start turning, they want to do this. Yeah, and it throws everything off. So if you like to come out double, is that okay? Ready? And 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Yep. And I saw McKenna do it. She went a little bit forward, but did you see what she did? She kind of clinched everything up. She tightened everything up, and she saved that. Okay, try it again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. The other thing I want you to really watch, and we struggle with this as well. So you've got your broken T and you're turning. I know there are lots of teams that turn here with their palms. I just think there's so much variation with that just to be clean, it's best to do it in here. Again, in my opinion. One thing when you're doing your turns to really watch, girls going your broken T. And sometimes when you're turning, you tend to want to bring those elbows up like this. Yeah, so you, again, reiterate to them, press those shoulders down. That helps with that. So that is with the turns. Let's see. Leg height, we did that. Arm placement. Oh. Okay. Don't overextend your arms or legs. Okay. In any of the palms. For example, Okay, so they're going to do an 8 of turns in second. I'm talking about like hyperextending, like overextending. That throws the whole rotation off, and you really need to concentrate on tightening the core. So if you do it wrong, everybody else do it right. Just do 1 8. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Her bad wasn't really that bad. So, yeah, can you do it again?
Could you really hyperextension?
Okay, ready, everybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah? Okay, so she's completely hyperextending everything. She's not concentrating on tightening her core. She's letting her shoulders go crazy. She was spotting. That's good. That's how she was getting around. Let's see, don't overextend. Okay, let's flip the page here. Supporting, make sure that supporting leg is always straight. So when you've gone from your plie up into your releve, that supporting leg needs to be straight. Yeah? Needs to be straight.
Practice sometimes just doing the prep.
Yep.
Just here witnessing that.
Yes. A lot of times what we'll do, and again, in that group work that we do, like when their partners are watching, we do this over and over. Yep. And they help each other with that balance. Again, focus on the core, especially when we get to competition time. We start working on our core a lot more, and we do sit-ups kind of over and over and over. Most of the time, about 100 to 150. They do that before they go out to compete, right before they go on the floor, because that engages those muscles, just like how we did our palm, you know, and the sharp arms. If their muscles are engaged before they go out, they can feel everything. They know where everything is. Again, high releve, obviously super important in your turns. A nice crisp spot, really finding that spot on the floor, or not on the floor, ahead of you to spot that. Again, full extension through the legs and the toes. A lot of times what I'll see is that extended leg, I'll see that that's not fully extended, so a little bit of a bend in that. How do you suggest cleaning a pirouette and the rotation speed? A lot of times what we'll do for that too is adding our vocal. If we add our vocal, it keeps everybody kind of with the same rotation. So they're going to show you just kind of a little trick with the vocals that we do. I just feel like sometimes, I mean, I don't want you talking through the entire routine, but I think sometimes it's nice for the dancers to remember they've got a team with them. So a little vocal here and there helps them feel like, okay, I'm not here alone, which is what we all know it feels like when we get out there. You feel like you're alone. So, all right. So what do you do? Ready? 5, 5. Whoopsie, so sorry. They're hanging on my every word. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1. Yeah. Okay. So that G, B, U, yeah. Telling them. I say my G on the first. I say my B on the second. So that's a nice way to help too. Kicks and extensions. Obviously, a strong supporting leg. If you guys just go ahead. Yeah, just nice and pretty brush improvements. If you need one kind of all cattywampus with a leg. Yeah, have that supporting them there. So her supporting legs a little bit bent. Lindsay, can you do another one where the leg you're through is bent? Yeah, so that knee kind of little turn in, a little bent. I love it that they're like, oh, I don't know how to do it wrong. I love that. To your nose. Always kick to your nose. Yes? Again, unless otherwise specified by your choreographer. If it's, you know, it's a kick to the corner, make sure that you specify that. Vocals, again, I'll talk about that. The verbal cues and vocalization for support and memory. That's really what that's for. The other thing it's for is a lot of times when they're nervous, they hold their breath. So those vocals are a way to exhale without having to remember it. You just make those vocals part of the routine. If you add a vocal, that really helps with like the facial variation as well. I'm not a tongue person. I don't ever like to see those tongues hanging out when anything's happening. I don't like to see counting out loud. I don't like to see people mouthing the words to the music out loud. If you add those vocals, if you work on those facials and make them a part of the routine, that stuff will just happen naturally, okay? It should really accent or enhance the routine. It should not be a distraction, okay? So the oohs and the ahs and the all that kind of stuff. No. Smiles, vocals, you can really portray that energy through your eyes as well, okay? Couple questions, actually 3 questions here, I think. We do not have the ability to practice on an actual gym floor. What are some things you do to make sure forms are good once you make it to one? Yeah. They remind me of what my thoughts were. Thank you. Okay, so if you're in close quarters or you're practicing in a wrestling room or wherever you may be, setting that front line is the most important thing. And then everybody else is going to have to adjust to that front line, knowing, here we're in columns, here we're in windows, and you really have to guide off of those front people throughout until you're able to get on a gym floor. I know a lot of you have that struggle, is finding that space to be able to practice in.
Yeah, and I'm just going to be the voice behind here. I would also recommend, because the floor at Wells Fargo and Hy-Vee is larger than a gym floor, you just go off of the center line and the circle. And if you do that, then you're good. You shouldn't go off the volleyball court and the free throw line. You need to go off of the circle and the center line. That's consistent no matter what.
Yeah. And I know, like she said, everybody's gyms are marked differently too. And I know sometimes we've gotten down there and go, okay, well, there's a hash mark here and those are going to be different no matter where you go. So you're really going to have to rely on those front girls to, really make sure, using their peripheral and making sure that they're looking ahead so that their spot on the floor is right, so that everybody else behind them will be as well. How do you handle adjusting formations if there are dancers that may have to be cut for state competition? Okay, so if they have to be cut prior to state competition, I suggest the earlier, the better. And I think this ties in with this question as well, so I'm going to read it too. If there are dancers cut and formations are off, do you leave as is or move dancers around, causing others to have to adjust their learned formations and counts? No holes. Do not have holes. Your team should be professional enough that they're able to adjust, a couple different parts or a couple different changes and things, but don't throw it at them a week before. I mean, if you know people are going to be cut or you're going to have a hole, make those decisions at least 2 weeks in advance of state. Holes are not good, okay? So whatever you have to do to adjust that. Set a deadline to cut cut those people or make your decision. It's not fair to you or the team if you're having to do that. Oh, there was something else I was palms. I got to thinking about it when they were rolling to get up. If your palm drops, pick it up. Always. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to show you. Here's the thing. If they drop it, it's not going to be that far from. It really is. Oh, something's happening behind me. I think somebody's going to drop something. Okay. So this happened to our team one year where they did a leap and rolled to the ground, and she went to stand up and the palm got cut underneath her. She swept right up, grabbed that palm, and up she stood. I didn't even know she had done it. She was back crying and everything, the world was over. But she did a great job. So you have a friend out there. Okay, what am I giving you? 5. Ready? And 5. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah? So pick it up. Pick it up. Jump right back in. Pick it up. They are getting goofy. They just had practice for 2 hours prior to this, so they're probably a little strict. And they're going on fall break, so they're ready. They're staying for you all.
Oh my God!
Yes, they're staying for you all. I have incredible girls. Yes. Okay, so routine to fit your team. I think Jay Peterson maybe next week. Jay Peterson's in 2 weeks, and he's addressing
how to adjust choreography to your team.
How to adjust choreography to your team. The size of the team does not matter. I am going to use Winterset as an example. They don't have very many girls, but I tell you what, when they're moving those formations, it looks like they got a bunch out there. So just really utilize formation changes, group work, highlighting different dancers, things like that. How to make your routine fit your team, small school versus large school. If you're a smaller school and you feel like maybe you're not as strong on the technical skills, by all means, don't add them. Don't put them in there. Again, if you've got a dancer that needs to be pushed a little bit more and wants to do those things, highlight her. Have her do an extension, have her do a leap of some kind. But but don't make the other dancers feel outside of their comfort zone, especially when they're going to state such a big, a big environment. Do what's comfortable for them. If they're all good at single pirouettes, do a single. If they can get a double, great, do a double. Do a drop off if you need to, where it comes from front to back or whatever. You can work it however you want to. Again, how to make jump and turn adjustments for your team. Just kind of what I was talking about, same thing. You just need, your team the best as their coach. And you may have some dancers say, oh, I know we can do it. I know we can do it. Maybe that's something you work up to, but for state, we're going to do this. And then, for next year, we'll keep building. But they don't need to feel that added pressure of having to get a skill they've never done before right before state. So be careful of that. Just performance tips, be crisp and clean always. Always pick up the palm if you drop it. It was towards the end of my notes. It was right there. Make sure that your palm switches and tricks are solid. Don't just add it for something extra. Make sure they're solid and that the kids are comfortable doing it. Again, no anticipation in choreography. So if you're anticipating, you're going to be able to tell if you're anticipating another move because you're going to be ahead of the rest of your team. Okay, so I'm just going to count a little bit here, and they'll kind of show you who's doing what. Who's going to be the bad example? Who's the bad example?
Very anticipating.
Oh, back row. The back row are going to be the ones that anticipate the next movement. The front row are going to be crisp and clean. What do I give you?
Yes. 5.
Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Did you see Lindsay pop up? Yeah, she anticipated that next thing. She was so nervous about what was coming next. She went, oh, I'm gonna go right now. So no anticipation on tricks, transitions, etc. Okay, so entry and exit are not judged at state, but that is your first impression. So if you go on powerful and excited and heads up, they know you're ready to perform, and they're gonna keep watching you. If everybody's walking like, okay, nobody's gonna be excited, so you need to pump them up. Yeah. Oh, we got another one. They've got an entrance. Oh, wow. We didn't even plan any of this. So. Oh, they're getting palms, and then they'll show you an entrance. So, and it's kind of fun to come up with like a team signature entrance, something that's special to your team. It just kind of helps them come all together before they go out on the floor. So, okay. Okay, what am I giving you? 5. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. See, I'm excited. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, now I'm excited. I didn't know they had another part. They're ready. They're ready to go. I love it. They came in excited, right here, ready to go for the first move.
We have an exit for you.
You have an exit. They also have an exit. Here we go. And
Give us a 5.
And 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Oh, they're not very happy about their performance. They're not happy. We don't want to see that. So they're going to end their routine, and they're going to end very excited. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, perfect. Okay, so entry and exit. There you go. Facials. Match the music and the energy. Make sure you have variation in your facials. Remember those vocals if you'd like to. Do not mouth the words. I've kind of gone over this already. Tongue in your mouth, coming out. No. Facials should not distract. Like, ooh, ah, ooh, none of that, okay? Practice facials from day one. Practice your energy from day one. If there are any mistakes, do not drop your performance face, okay? If you make a mistake, McKenna, You just dropped your palms. So I, as a judge, I'm going to see that. McKenna, you just dropped your palms. Okay, don't let them know. Don't let them know. Let's see, uniforms and music. Palm selection. One color, two colors, it doesn't really matter. But I think most of the time at state, the background is black. So I would never suggest two black palms. I think I would stay away from that. But as far as, I mean, wear whatever you want. Wear your school uniform, wear a themed, if you've got a theme for your prom routine, it's whatever you want. If you select uniforms, you know, it's going to show school spirit, and a costume is going to show a theme. Just pick something with clean lines, flattering. Long sleeves is always a good thing because it kind of hides some of those, you know, bent elbows and such. So music should be fast-paced and high energy. For me to judge or watch a prom routine that is too slow, I want to get up and just start moving super fast so that everybody else does too. So just make sure it's fast and high energy. When the music is faster, it's easier to hit motions than it is with slow music. And if you have any questions on your music, always refer to Lois with legality questions. So make sure that you do that. I'm going to share a secret with you. They know it, but here's the secret. What I do with our music is I speed it up just a little bit for their last time on the floor. They don't even know that it was set up. And it's still legal to do that. You can still speed it. It is. We better check. Andrea's checking. But I'm sure it's the variation. You don't want to sped up like 50%. 1.5% is fine. Oh, she's checking. I just said something I shouldn't have.
I refer to Lois on everything.
She's referring to Lois right now. Andrea, do we have any questions at all?
I don't think so. Nothing so far. Have them type.
Have them what?
You can type into your chat feature if you have any questions.
Type into your chat feature if you have any questions.
It's at the bottom of your screen. This little chat bubble.
That says Jory.
Hi, Jory.
So we do have a question about discs, like with palms. Just also make sure that with those palms, that tea, that nice strong tea is super important. Do you guys want to go like 2x2 or do it all together? Do it all together. Again, with your disc, you know, we're not really worried about height. We're worried about technique.
Here's a question. Do you clean with weights?
We don't clean with weights, no. We clean with no palms, then we'll add some weights, then we'll add the palms.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys ready? What do I give you? Ready? 10, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Super important. Do not bend those knees coming in from that disc. Nice clean line, bringing it down. Anything else?
Waiting.
Waiting.
If you have any questions, type them in.
If you have any questions, type them in, please. Or if you just want to tell me I look cute, that's good too.
Oh, Lois.
Oh, Lois.
What'd
Hi,
she
Lois.
say?
Lois, what did you say?
Yes.
Yes, it's okay to slightly vary the tempo speed of your music as long as the true feel of the song is maintained. So that little 0.5% or percent is okay. Like I said, you don't want to go crazy. Thank you, Lois. I thank you for saving me. I spoke out of turn, and my apologies. But I was sure that was the rule. So I love you and thank you for clarifying. Anybody else? Anything else? Oh my gosh, I talked for an hour.
You did it.
I talked for an hour. Are we good?
Okay, I think we're good. If there's no more questions, we're going to let you enjoy the rest. Oh, wait.
Oh, there's
We have thank yous.
Oh, we have thank yous. Thank you. Thank you. Who's that from?
Yes, you can come up.
You're welcome, Mallory. Oh, the girl's going to come wave. The girl's going to come wave.
Thank you, GVU.
If you're their former coach, give them a kiss, girls. Thank you so much, you guys. We appreciate it. See you all at State.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
And then just go right to this way.